So Buddy Murphy is not coming to AEW. Instead, Satnam Singh from the Dallas Mavericks, he was drafted in the NBA. I believe it was in 2015. He was drafted. He was a giant, over 7 feet tall, center. Never really played in the NBA. But now AEW has announced that they've officially signed him to a contract, and he's going to be basically training at the Nightmare Factory. But Buddy Murphy isn't coming to AEW. I have some details on that. I find it very interesting. I don't really know what AEW's strategy is here, but to be honest, we've all grown to love AEW in the 2 years that they've been around. So I'm going to be patient and trust that Tony Khan and the company are doing great things. I like this, though. I like the fact that AEW is doing something a little bit differently. It's kind of like a WWE move to sign former athletes. Satnam Singh is somebody who is over 7 feet tall, and he's going to be coming to AEW, but first he's going to be developing his craft. And what better way to do so than join Cody and the Nightmare Factory? So one thing that I really want to make clear, AEW is doing great things, and this is not a typical move that we see from AEW. So when somebody like Buddy Murphy isn't coming to AEW, you kind of wonder what their strategy is. But it's very clear that AEW can only bring in so many former WWE superstars. And to be honest with you, I'm sure Satnam Singh is probably less expensive compared to Buddy Murphy anyways. And we're going to get into those details about Buddy Murphy, but I want you guys to know that we got to look at this as a good thing. My name is Ango. This is Destination Pro Wrestling. This is a channel where I bring you guys the latest news in AEW and WWE and all other wrestling companies. So your subscription would be appreciated. But let's talk about Satnam Singh. Okay, well, we know for a fact that he's going to be coming to AEW, and they're going to be working on developing him first. This is going to be a real test to see how AEW develops talent that have not come from wrestling, because we know there's a lot of guys in WWE who get signed. Often they're from Olympic wrestling, college wrestling, MMA, or college football, or the NFL. And we see WWE work with these guys, and some guys work out, some of them clearly don't, and they get released. With AEW, this is really the first time I can actually remember where they have signed somebody that has no wrestling background, which is kind of a good thing, right? Like I said, this is going to be a test to see what AEW can do. The guy clearly has a good look, over 7 feet tall. I always talk about how AEW needs to improve their big men, right? There's only a few guys. There's only a few big guys. Obviously, we know Shaquille O'Neal has also been on AEW before. So, the thing is with AEW bringing in more taller, heavyweight guys, I think it's a good move because there's got to be a balance, right? There's a lot of small guys in AEW, and it's not a bad thing. But I like to have a balance when it comes to all different types of wrestlers. I like characters. I like great athletic wrestlers. I like the super heavyweights. You got to have a nice mixture. But I like this. And this is great considering that, AEW is doing big things, right? AEW Grand Slam just did 1.2 million viewers. And, I was the one, and I had to say this, I was the guy who expected 2 million. But it just goes to show you that pro wrestling is just a long way away from becoming a true mainstream thing. And that's not a problem. I think AEW is doing so good. The ratings, even though like the key demographic, they technically lost to Raw. The good thing here is AEW is putting on such a good product. And I think what really matters here in the world of wrestling, and you guys tell me if you agree or not, but when a company sucks, like creatively, right? Like WWE Raw is like a bad show. It's very easy to say, hey, look at the ratings because it's bad. AEW Grand Slam was a phenomenal show, and the ratings could have been better based on the hype and everything surrounding the event. So we like to use ratings as a way to say, hey, your product sucks. But we also know if WWE Raw was as good as AEW Grand Slam, we wouldn't really care what the ratings are. 1.2 million viewers is definitely a great thing, but I think AEW just slightly missed the mark on not having any surprises. Again, not a big deal. It was a great show. And now there's rumors for next week, which ultimately get me even more excited. My job here is to bring you guys daily videos. So the more that there is to talk about, the better it is. And I feel like with AEW, we're just getting to the point where things are just starting to warm up even more than ever. They're bringing in a new talent from outside of pro wrestling. And on top of that, there are still other guys coming to the show. So to me, it just makes it sound like a way better thing for the overall product, right? We don't need to sign every former WWE guy, but also we need to, we need to sign people. We need to keep this product fresh. We need to bring in fresh faces. And AEW does that. And they alternate their talent too. They're not completely overexposed, which is fantastic. So, guys, 1.2 million viewers, to me, it's not a bad thing whatsoever. In fact, I would say it's a good thing that it's just another episode of Dynamite, and they continue to do great things. Now we got to talk about Buddy Murphy. Yeah, guys, Dave Meltzer came out on the Wrestling Observer and basically said that Tony Khan and AEW decided to pass up on bringing in Buddy Murphy. And I'm not going to lie, this slightly disappoints me because we're not familiar with Satnam Singh, but we're all familiar with Buddy Murphy, and we all believe that Buddy Murphy would be a great fit in AEW. We also believe that Buddy Murphy is somebody that has a lot of potential in the world of wrestling outside of WWE. The problem is, where will we see that? Now, I know New Japan has been in the conversation amongst a ton of fans. I know we spoke about Buddy Murphy going to Impact, and at this point, I am fully convinced that Scott D'Amore is not trolling when he says Buddy Murphy will be making an Impact soon. In fact, I really think we could see Buddy Murphy at Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory, which, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity for Buddy Murphy to go to Impact and still have the dream matches within AEW. See, guys, that's the thing I want to remind you about. With the Forbidden Door being open, AEW doesn't necessarily need to sign Buddy Murphy just for us to see him on Dynamite. If Buddy Murphy goes to Impact, I cannot wait to see what he can do, especially with the door being open with New Japan and All Elite Wrestling. This is good stuff. Okay, Buddy Murphy being passed up on, yeah, it kind of sucks. It's kind of frustrating, but ultimately, everybody keeps talking about this. AEW should not sign more WWE guys, and if that's the case, I'm cool with it. But I would love to see him inside of an AEW ring at some point. And with so much talk about this X Division Championship belt now being vacated, I have a very strong feeling that Buddy Murphy could potentially be the next X Division champion. Why not bring the X Division Championship to an episode of Rampage or Dynamite? If you're AEW, it makes a lot of sense. You don't need to sign this guy to bring him in. And on top of that, Impact gets even a bigger rub because Buddy Murphy is a former WWE superstar. Ultimately, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm shocked, to be honest. I thought for sure Buddy Murphy would be going to AEW, but the good news is it's not entirely bad, right? And that's the beauty of having the Forbidden Door open. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget, we do have an official Discord server as well. So if you guys want to chat, we're always talking about AEW and MLW and Impact and ROH and WWE. It's always a good time in the Discord server, and it costs you absolutely no money. So go ahead and check it out, guys. The link is in the description. Thank you again for watching, and thank you for supporting this channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time right here on Destination PW.